Something you probably didn't know about snipers is that generally elite snipers usually shoot with both eyes open. This is something that only a few movies portray accurately. For example, we can see it perfectly represented in American Sniper. This raises quite a few questions, like why do they aim with both eyes open? And directly, how do they manage to aim? Like this? Don't they? Telescopic sights work like a spyglass. You only need to use one eye to aim. In this video, we'll see the why and how of this incredible skill perfected by snipers. So get comfortable and welcome to Guns Club. The work of a sniper is one of the most difficult to master. It requires years and years of practice and dedication. Becoming an elite sniper is a rather old profession. In fact, it became a professional branch around the middle of World War I. In almost 100 years of history, the way snipers are trained has changed quite a lot. For much of the 20th century, they were taught to aim with their dominant eye, closing the other one. This way, they could disconnect from their surroundings and focus directly on the target. This way of shooting is considered fundamental not only for snipers, but for anyone who fires a weapon. If you've gone to an academy or served your country, you were probably taught this way. That's how it was for me too. It's the most common way because it's the simplest way to aim with one eye. Both parts of the sight, the rear sight and the front sight, are perfectly aligned and clearly visible. This way, anyone can master aiming their weapon. But this way of aiming has several disadvantages that anyone who has fought in combat has noticed very clearly. In high-intensity combat, the situation is very different from that of a training field. When you're in a real combat scenario, where there are explosions, bullets flying everywhere, friends and enemies screaming in pain, and death lurking around every corner, your body is in an extremely stressful situation. We could call it fight-or-flight mode. Your brain realizes that the situation you're in is highly dangerous and decides to act. It releases large amounts of adrenaline into your bloodstream. This causes many things in your body. Your heart rate increases to make you faster, and more importantly, your pupils dilate. Your brain wants to absorb as much information as possible from its surroundings so it can react faster to anything that comes up unexpectedly. At a moment like this, your eyes are so wide open, like church doors. Your brain simply doesn't allow you to close them because it's necessary for your survival. If you're a soldier trained to aim with one eye closed, this situation completely throws off your aim. On the Tactical Rifleman channel, there's a video talking about this topic, and they use a very interesting example. You see it frequently on the news. 5 police officers approaching a door to serve a high-risk warrant. A man leaving for his night shift job startles people when he exits his door early. Law enforcement officers shoot 50 bullets, they end up hitting the guy 3 times in the leg. These are the same police officers that you take them out to the range and they can shoot 1-inch dots at 25 yards. They can group, they're experts with those pistols. How are they losing them? It's not like the guy is going off track. It's because it's the first time in their lives that these police officers have fired with their eyes open. It's okay, with adrenaline in your blood, it's impossible to close one eye to aim. But snipers aren't always active usually. They're in a very safe place, far from danger, stalking the enemy from hundreds of meters away, so they're usually pretty calm in their work. And despite this, they still shoot with both eyes open. Well, it's time to talk about another factor in favor of shooting with both eyes open, and that's avoiding unnecessary strain. Look, this Olympic shooter is shooting with both eyes open, but he has an attachment that blocks the view of his non-dominant eye, because he uses this tool to block the view from that eye. Why doesn't he just close the eye that's not aiming and that's it? Wouldn't he avoid using those glasses? Well, what happens is that keeping your non-dominant eye closed for long periods of time is a bit difficult. Try it. Keep your non-dominant eye closed as long as you can during this video. It's easy to do, but in Olympic shooting, you have to be as relaxed and focused as possible, constantly closing one eye. It's an extra effort that requires some brain power you could use for shooting. It's an effort you just want to avoid, both in Olympic shooting and in precision shooting. If it's hard to do for 5 minutes, imagine doing it constantly for hours. It's something exhausting that you simply avoid by keeping both eyes open while aiming. The last factor is the most obvious of all, but also the most important. Having both eyes open gives you an awareness of your surroundings while aiming. Even if you're not looking at something directly, if something happens in your field of vision, your brain will instantly react to that stimulus. In combat, knowing what's happening around you at all times is crucial. The most experienced hunters shoot with both eyes open. This is because if a deer is running and they're only looking with one eye, it would be very easy to lose track of the target just by looking through the reticle. However, with both eyes open, you can follow it and be aware of where it is at all times while aiming. This also applies to combat. Not all snipers shoot with both eyes open, but the more experienced ones practice shooting this way to always be prepared in combat. But how is it possible to do it? How can you aim with both eyes open at the same time? Shouldn't it be impossible? Earlier, we saw an example of how a weapon looks if you aim with only one eye. You can perfectly align your sight with the two components of the sight, allowing you to aim effectively. But when both eyes are open, strange things happen. Your eyes are constantly receiving light and generating two images at the same time. Everything you see, you do it from two different points. This gives us a pretty important ability, which is to focus. You can focus your gaze on a specific point, ignoring everything else. This was useful for detecting predators hidden in the grass, but it causes us to not be able to see in a straight line, like we do when we have one eye closed. For example, hold your left hand like this a little away in front of you, then put your right hand's index finger in front of it like this. Now, with your hands like this, try to stare at your right hand's index finger. It's there, it's your index finger. But now focus your gaze on your left hand, the one that's farther back. If you do it, you'll see that your index finger mysteriously disappeared. It becomes transparent as if it were a portable network graphics allowing us to see your left hand perfectly, even though your right hand is blocking the other one. Having two eyes is useful for many things, but not for aiming. Aiming with both eyes open. In a sight, it looks like this. If you focus your sight on the front sight post, you'll see something like this. And if you focus on the rear sight, you'll see something like this. But the trick is to concentrate on the view from your dominant eye and ignore the view from your non-dominant eye. Even though you have both eyes open, you can focus on the view from just one eye, aiming as if you only had one open. It also applies to reticles and weapons with reflex and red dot sights. Aiming with both eyes is a very difficult skill to master, but once you do, you'll aim like a true elite soldier. If you liked this video, maybe you'd like to know the story of the forgotten M15 rifle, the predecessor of the M16 and the successor of the M14. Thank you very much for watching this video, and goodbye.